Hello and welcome back. I am so happy to have you here today as we are going to be diving into something really important, which is about energetic protection, self sovereignty, and psychic attacks, which is something that I feel like has been ramping up a lot lately and it's not talked about nearly enough. So, I want to dive in today and share some different signs of if that's happening to you. And before I get into any of it, it's nothing to be afraid of. It's just something you want to be empowered around and to feel like you know how to protect yourself and basically have that energetic boundary, have that guard up so that you're not influenced or easily swayed by these kinds of forces, as well as diving into some practices for self protection. So, hopefully, the birds aren't too loud in the background as they get even louder when I say that. It's that time of day, but you can enjoy it. It's beautiful, it's peaceful. So, let's talk about psychic attacks and signs that you are experiencing these because okay, we are in spiritual warfare. I don't know if I can even say that on these platforms, but we truly are. We're in a war of consciousness where right now, even on the baseline level, without me getting super galactic or out there or potentially weird, um, on the very baseline level, you are constantly being inundated with information and pushed programs to plug into. So, as an energetic being, as a being who has consciousness, your consciousness is the truth of who you are, and it is the most important thing, right? You've probably heard the saying of someone who's like just being unconscious or living unconsciously, right? They're not aware. They're just like going through the matrix. They're going through Groundhog Day. They're looping. They're very not tuned in to themselves and their truth, their heart, often disassociated from their body, which, there's so many reasons this can happen, including trauma and just including all the noise from society right now. But when you are becoming more aware that you are consciousness in a human form, consciousness in a physical body at this time, right? You can also start to become aware of the fact that there is a power grab for your consciousness. There are many beings, governments, media, anything that's fear based is usually trying to vie for your attention. Lower level programs, lower level things, that are playing on addictions and all of that. They're trying to plug you in and basically have your life force, your consciousness, giving away to something that isn't of the highest good. And on the baseline level, this keeps you from your highest purpose. This keeps you from your calling, from your path. It keeps you from feeling directly connected to source and to a loving creator, right? And I personally have been there myself and spent a lot of time there actually, where I was really plugged in to things that were not of my highest good. We could even say, drinking and partying in my university days was one example of this kind of program and this way that I was being very unconscious and very disconnected from what actually was good for me. But it was normalized. And that's what I want to emphasize is the fact that a lot of these things are being pushed on us so strongly in all of our programming, all of the media, the movies, the songs, music, TV shows, commercials are constantly, if you're aware of it, you've probably seen it. Let me know in the comments below what you've picked up on over the years and if you even still watch those things. But it's wild. And I was talking with a friend about that today of like the predictive programming in a lot of shows where they're pushing certain narratives because they want our consciousness, they want human beings to plug into that and put their life force energy into that potential reality, that timeline, right? So as you become aware of it, you start to realize, like, wow, these things are actually not very healthy that they're constantly promoting. I became very aware of big pharma years, even a couple years before my brother passed away, but he passed away in 2011 from an allergic reaction to a prescription drug. He should have never taken it, but he did, and he reacted. And it was wild seeing like how disconnected people are. And I'd say it's even worse now. We're so desensitized to death, to overdoses, to reactions to things, to holistic ways of living because we've been literally fed a pill. Thanks, Big Pharma, feeding us that this is the way and this is going to solve your problem. And every commercial on TV is multiple ads for a synthetic drug that has a huge list of things that don't serve you. So I'll stop my tangent, but it's things that are plugging us in to lower vibrational energies, lower vibrational uses of our power and our life force. Okay? So there is a constant vie for your attention and for your consciousness, which means that there are going to be a lot of distractions. There is going to be a lot of noise. And there can be a lot of energetic interference as well as mental or emotional interference and physical. But I'll leave that for another video. So the psychic attacks that you may have experienced, some signs of these or some ways this might feel in your body is where you are kind of feeling this disassociation, like a disconnect from yourself, and you don't realize it until like a few hours go by. You've lost yourself in a rabbit hole of scrolling or in an addictive pattern, or it could be a thought loop. And I actually had this happen the other day, and because I've been doing this work for years, I was very aware and I was able to shift it quickly. And I want to share that because I felt right away that this was a psychic attack, that this was something trying to pull my consciousness in a really lower level way of being. So I was out for a walk, I think, and life was great. Things were going really well. Everything is aligning so beautifully in my life because I've been consciously creating and making it line up the way that I want it to, and taking the efforts to remove people, things, situations, and keep on path with what I desire. But I had this intense thought form come in, and it was old stories from childhood trauma, which is what can be sometimes the disguise. So if you find yourself getting stuck in like really negative self-loathing or deprecating thoughts or self-hatred, and it, for me, that's what it was. It was a level of like self-hatred that I've not experienced in years, and it came on so strongly. Um, and it was pulling on these memories of things from childhood and people saying this to me. And like, it was basically this voice that sounded like me, but was telling me all the reasons why I was a waste of space and a nuisance and I should give up and I don't deserve to be here. Like the most horrible self talk. And because of my work, I had this higher self awareness the whole time. So it was kind of like the angel and the devil on the two shoulders, where the devil was planting these messages and saying all these mean things. But at the same time, the angel and the higher self was like sitting there, and she's like, this isn't you. This is not you, Carrie. Like, you're way beyond this. You know it's not true. Like, you can just close this door, revoke these thoughts, like do not give it any more access to you or any more power. Don't allow yourself to get pulled into it, right? My higher self was bringing in lots of loving guidance and support. And so I was able to shift out of it in like I would say maybe 30 minutes. So it didn't take me super long and it wasn't a full day spiraling. What can happen if we don't have different kind of tools? Then I did energy clearing and scanned like my auric field and my energy body, and just like really set new protection and boundaries and removing anything that wasn't connected to the living God and to source creator. um, but what can happen if we don't do that? If you have never done that, then you can be very unaware of your energetic sovereignty and your energy field. And lots of these things can plant in. And when I think of where I was even 5 or 6 years ago, in 2018, when I was just beginning to deepen my connection even more to energy work and my intuition, I had a session with a mentor, and she guided me, closing my eyes through meditation to scan my energy body and notice what I was picking up on. And I forget exactly where I saw things, but I saw kind of like darker colors here and like a hole or something here. And I remember explaining these things to her, and skeptics will say she was just agreeing with me for the sake of it. But she was like, that's exactly what I see when I'm tuning into your energetic field. And so we started doing some repair, some clearing, pulling things out. I had intense uh, actual like headaches and stuff for the next day, and needed to drink a lot of water, move my body, just like clear things out. But it was my first experience of seeing how my unhealed trauma at the time had allowed me to kind of stay open to these lower energies, these entities, vibrations, thought forms, right? And as I said, it's nothing to be afraid of. It's just what is a vibrational match. So, my example of the devil or the angel, I don't even want to instill the fear around like the devil and that kind of being trying to infiltrate my consciousness. It was more just like a very, very low vibration on the vibrational scale, right? The guilt, the shame, the anger, hatred, those are very low frequencies. So the thought form and the thing that was coming in was at that vibration and basically trying to pull me back into that place so that I would remain a match for it. And as I said, because of the different tools that I use, then I could return back to a more loving, more positive, more open space and feel protected to maintain that, where I got to go back upwards into the upward spiral and feel supported. But it's so important, especially in a day and age where, as I said, we're being constantly inundated with a million different things each day. You can't even pick up your phone without being blasted with some kind of noise and information, and usually fear, right? It's so important at this time to realize that you are a sovereign being. You are sovereign. You are free. You are part of God. So you do not have to be giving power away to something outside of you, something that's fear based, something that's pulling you down. You don't need to give your power away to the addictive thoughts or patterns. Those are not your true self. That's something that's based in trauma, potentially based in childhood programming, based in things that had been normalized for you. But at the end of the day, if it's not serving your highest good and it's not supporting you in moving forward towards what it is you desire, then in my personal opinion, it's not meant for you, right? If it is holding you back or keeping you looping or just distracting you, if it's leaving you feeling drained, which is typically, in my experience, the number one sign. is this making me feel negative and down, or is this making me feel drained? If I feel depleted and drained, then something's not right. That's not my highest alignment. And that's a very clear sign for me that I need to either set a physical boundary and remove myself, or set an energetic boundary and, again, do the clearing, do the protection of my field, revoke any access to this thing so that I'm sovereign and it doesn't have connection to me. And that's where I want to wrap up this video with a few different practices and tips to do that. So firstly, this is something I teach inside Activate, which is one of my quantum healing hypnosis bundles. And it's filled with trainings about connecting to your higher self, to God consciousness, to the quantum field, really tuning into your unique gifts and your intuition and building empowerment in who you are and what you're here to share in the world. So that is something that's filled with so many different practices and hypnosis recordings, as well as quantum healing activations that allow you to tune in and deepen that connection to your energetic fields, to your aura, to scanning your body and seeing where there might be energies or implants or things that are latching on and potentially draining you, right? Or potentially keeping you stuck in a loop. So, even side note, again, distraction. If you get stuck in a thought pattern over and over and over and over again, yes, from a psychological standpoint, that's because it's been probably patterned in your brain. And if you've repeated it long enough, it just becomes a really strong neural network, and it's really easy for your brain to repeat it. But it also could be something that has been kind of implanted. It's a lower consciousness thought form, right? So you want to start becoming aware of, like, this is not me, and I revoke access to it. So that's what I want to finish this video with, is just empowering you to remember that you have the ability to clear these things, that you have the ability to deny access. So when I started by sharing that you are consciousness, and the power of your consciousness is connected to God, it is source, right? You are one with source. So that means that the power of God is flowing through you at all times. And that means that you have that power to create from, to speak from, to build from, to flow through life from. Most people don't ever become aware of it, so they're not using it to the full power. Some people continue to stay stuck in these lower places, and so they never access it fully or realize what's available to them. But you, my friend, you're here, you're watching, you're open to this. Maybe you've already tuned in to this in your own life and started reclaiming that and really owning and embodying how powerful you are as consciousness in human form. So that means that when these things come up into your life, it can be as simple as you saying, I revoke this. I do not consent. I do not give power to this thought form, to this being, to this emotion, to this energy, to this thing that's pulling me down. I don't even know what it is, but I know that it doesn't feel good. I know that it's not serving me, and I am not giving it power. I'm not giving it any access to my mind, my body, my soul, right? I'm not allowing it into my energetic field. And it can be as simple as fully owning the power of your voice, the power of God within you, as you speak it out loud or think the thoughts, right? You can think it mentally, that's fine too. And seeing or feeling that your energetic field, that your aura around you is like flushing anything of those lower vibrations away, and then sealing it back up and seeing that you are protected, seeing that you are supported, seeing that you are, again, just truly connected to unconditional love, to the divine, and nothing else has access. And that will change things so instantly. That is so powerful. It's like energetic hygiene. Why we weren't taught this growing up is wild. You know, you take a shower every day to wash your physical body and make sure it's clean from impurities and dirt and grime and things that pile up. Imagine if you never showered for like 18 years or however many years old you are. You would be covered in layers and layers of grime. You would be covered in so much dirt. Your physical body would need to be washed clean. That would be standard hygiene, right? And yet, energetically, we're energetic beings. So we're constantly being influenced by these things. And if we're not taking the time, even if it's 1 minute a day, 1 minute in the morning, 1 minute at night, to clear that, to remove it, to visualize that protection and that healing energy, that beautiful color moving in, or just that sense of self and sense of sovereignty, then imagine how many layers can pile up over the years, right? Or just imagine how much weaker you could be feeling or less empowered you'd be feeling because you're not fully sovereign, you're not fully at your highest, right? So it's that simple energetic hygiene each day that then constantly begins to reinforce your true sense of self and allows you to keep showing up more and more from the highest versions of you, and later moving into anchoring in more of your multidimensionality, more of your gifts, more of the true essence of who you are, right? Being full in all parts of you, all aspects of you, here in the present moment. And I can say for my own life, it's changed everything by doing this. And as I said, there are many different tools and layers. I teach this inside Activate if you want to go deeper. But regardless, please start here with that daily energetic hygiene. And notice how you feel by doing that, because I guarantee you'll feel so much better and you'll feel less influenced by those things around you. So someone can show up and try to take advantage of you or push a button, right? Or you open your phone and there's ads or commercials or these things popping up, and these things that would potentially overwhelm and siphon and pull you into this little hole. And because you've done the protection and the boundaries earlier in the day, your consciousness is more aware and it's more tuned in, and it's just kind of like, I'm not going there, right? Or the person trying to take advantage, and you're like, no, I'm not available for that. The empowerment and sovereignty anchors in a much deeper way from doing so. And then no matter where you are, no matter what's showing up, no matter what's going on in the external world around you, you still feel in control of your mental body, your physical body, your emotional body, and your energetic body. And that, to me, is more important than gold. That's more important than any material item out there, because that is what allows you to continue to be fully connected to the divine, fully connected to your heart and soul, your purity, your true essence. And it is a spiritual war. So they're wanting to keep you disconnected from the truth of who you are, and remaining connected or returning to that connection is really like radical rebellion. And it's the most important thing that we can each be committing to at this time on the earth. So please try this out. Let me know if this video was helpful. I hope it was. And I didn't really even get into intuition. I will do that on another video. You know your girl likes to talk. So we'll dive more into that. But this, I would say, is the foundation, because it's really hard to hear the higher self guidance, to hear your intuition. It's hard to trust your intuition when you're being inundated with all this noise and you maybe are confused of which way's up, what do I believe, this thing's so strong, right? The thought form for me that was coming through that day that was so negative, it was so strong and so much like mimicking my own self-talk from years ago, that had I not been so deeply connected to my intuition and higher self, I would have fully believed everything that was being said. And it would have taken me off the rails for potentially like weeks in the past. Because it was just like, if you don't have that connection to your intuition, it's hard to discern. And that's where we can end up making decisions from fear or on a path that isn't truly our highest good. So I'll get into that on another video. If you have any questions regarding this topic, please drop them down below. As I said, you can learn more on the link below about the quantum healing hypnosis. And I will see you again very soon in the next video. I'm sending you so much love, so much protection, so much freedom in your physical and energetic body. And yeah, just seeing you at your highest, most empowered self.